What is up, everyone? Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of DPF on Tap. So, kicking it off today, what are we going to talk about? I have a few things I want to talk about. And the first is we've been working incredibly hard on the website, getting merch out there. We have text groups, this private Facebook group, kind of ordering stuff, looking at things. We love everything we're getting in. We're getting compliments on it. We're not selling anything that we're not physically getting in. What we want to tell you is that it's not just shirts. It's a lot of apparel, Drunk Phils fans, Drunk Flyers fans. We put DPF on in case, you don't want drunk when you're going to, your finance job or church or a wedding. You can wear the DPF. But we decided to do something special today. And I'm going to put it up. So drunkphilsfans.com, we're going to give 20% off from right now until tomorrow at 6 p.m. The code is Fuck Joe Carter, all lowercase. A couple of the things that I want to highlight are I'm wearing the DPF Skyline with the FTM on the back. It's going away January 31st. If you want this one, it's limited edition. We're not going to keep it forever. That one's going away. We've tried a lot of different things, phone cases, dog bowls or cat bowls, or if your kid likes cereal and they want a 16-ounce bowl, that'll work. We've done fanny packs is one of the other things that we've done. And they're pretty cool. I don't know if I'd wear it, but I might. I tried. It can fit 4 bottles and 6 cans in here. Not that you would put that, but you can.
Or if you're a police officer,
with or without ice.
Firearms.
Yeah.
With or without ice, Chris.
Well, it was without ice. That's a good point. So you might have to do it a little bit less. And then the DPF garage has a clock. The wife mandated it, so I can say this is when I'm supposedly in. So that's one of the things we have going on. We appreciate all the support, and we wanted to give back. So 20% off, 24 hours from right now. Fuck Joe Carter, all lowercase, is the first thing we wanted to talk about. Now, the second thing that just came today, and we've been working on this for a while, is DPF night at the Phils. So I've already put this in the comments, the link and the code. To be completely transparent, the money's 100% going to the Phils. Nothing's coming our way. We just want to hang out and have a good time. Sitting in between 301 and 305 or so. We think 301 sold out. We think 302 is mostly sold out. That's mostly DPF people. So come on out. We're excited to meet everyone. We have people coming from out of state to come to this. Connecticut and Maryland are the two that we've seen. I think there's a few that are in the Carolinas.
You saw Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's Pittsburgh's out of state, basically.
Almost Ohio.
The other thing that we're kind of thinking about is doing a more formal tailgate, and by formal, all you can eat, all you can drink. We're kind of mulling it over, where it's a bus. There's bartenders, people taking IDs. It's different types of drinks that you can order, food. So hold tight on that. We're thinking about it. If not, we're definitely tailgating. So we'll let you know about that, but we're excited for this game.
BYOB.
And yeah, otherwise it will be. Thanks, Mike. It will be BYOB if we don't do this more formal, or it could be a mixture of both. We don't know. After the promotions out of the way, we're going to get into what we're going to talk about today. So where we're going to start is me, and what I want to talk about is #BAM, batting average matters. So I want to kind of talk to you about something. And here's I went in a rabbit hole. We were talking before this. I went in a freaking rabbit hole on this. But one of the things that stood out to me is listen to this. This is directly from MLB.com. I'm just going to read a short paragraph here as quick as I can. One of the oldest and most universal tools to measure a hitter's success at the plate is batting average. It's determined by, the player's hits divided by his total at bats. The league-wide batting average right now typically is hovered around 250. While batting average is a useful tool for measuring a player's ability at the plate, it isn't all-encompassing. Bullshit. Bullshit. When you're going up to bat, you're not looking to get hit by a pitch. You're not looking for a walk. You're looking to get a hit. That's what you're measured on, 100%. And to further kind of show this, I have some numbers, and I'm not going to bore you with it, but it's two numbers. It's the batting average and on-base percentage, because I know everyone's saying, oh, well, batting average doesn't matter because, people get on base. Kyle Schwarber hit 120, but he was on base 440. Here we go. Here's the league averages over a bunch of years. And I'm going to kind of, hopefully you'll see the pattern. It took me a while because I have a lot of beers a lot of times. So it isn't, I stared at this for a while. So in 2023, the batting average was 248 and 320 was the on-base percentage. Okay. We already knew it was going to be like 250 and low 300s. 2018, 248 and 318. This is like the analytic error. And then we're going to 2013, 253 and 318. Still hey, let's swing up on the ball, all that bullshit. Now we're going a little bit further back. So from 2013, I'm going to go back 5 more years, and we're going to look at 2008. 264 and 333 on base. So that's a 13-point difference in on-base percentage from today to 2008, while it is a 20-point difference in batting average. Going back a little bit farther in the time machine, 265, 332 in 1993. Batting average matters. Joe Mauer is in the fucking Hall of Fame because his batting average was good. Jorge Posada is not in the Hall of Fame because his batting average isn't as good. Period. End of story. If someone's saying batting average is not important, they're not understanding what the primary goal of a hitter is going up to bat. It's to get on base via hit. You're not looking for a walk. This isn't little league where the kid's up there hoping for 4 balls and he doesn't have to get the bat off his shoulder. You're going up to get a hit. Now, I think there's value in OPS because a double's better than a single, triple's better than a double. But I think batting average is important. I'd like to see it swing back in a way. I think it's so overrated that we're talking about on-base percentage that, it's better now and, there's more analytics in it. Well, in 2023, it's 320. And in 1998, it was 335 and 332 and 93. When there wasn't this analytics bullshit, people were trying to go up, get on base. There was the Hendersons and Daltons and Dykstras who also did the walking a lot. So that's where I am. That's my rant. I hate that on-base percentage is more important than batting average. I completely disagree. I think you're not going to get a 330 on-base percentage if you're, not hitting the ball. And it's total nonsense. So open for discussion for you guys. My rant's over. Old man rant.
Well, I think, Chris, your batting average, it kind of leads right into my topic with the analytics. They kind of go hand in hand because I was looking at similar statistics with analytics and what I wanted to talk about. Analytics in baseball, it's kind of been around since the 70s. Bill James wrote a book in the 70s about cybermetrics, and that was a term that I heard all through growing up, but it wasn't something that was widely adopted by all major league teams. But through the years, I'm an accountant. I'm a numbers guy. So numbers, I know the value of numbers, and I work with numbers all day, and I know what they mean. So the more information you have at your disposal, the better you are at making decisions. If you're buying a car, you want to know everything about all the cars that you're looking at so that you can make the best decision to buy the best car. My problem with analytics is baseball is not black and white. Sports are not black and white. Players are not black and white. Yeah, you may be able to look at analytics and say there's a very good probability that this is going to happen. But there are a million factors that could change that probability on any given day, on any given pitch, on any given swing. But we've gotten to the age now where these managers and the sport are being dictated by what these numbers are telling them. And we're seeing a decline in the way the game's played. Like you said, batting average. Batting average now is not important. And I read that in my, my research for this was like, no, batting average doesn't mean anything. It's on base percentage divided by walks, divided by this, divided by that. It's exit velocity. It's hard contact percentage. It's all these advanced metrics that they're using to now not only value players, but say this puts us in the best position to win. And I think you go back to like the 70s where Bill James cybermetrics. Kind of 2003, you had the Moneyball era with the A's, and not that they ever won a World Series, but they put competitive teams on the field with kind of a low budget roster because they looked for these key metrics and said, we want guys that get on base a lot because getting on base means run production. And that's the kind of guy they went for, and they were okay. Then you go a step further and you get Theo Epstein with the Red Sox, and he did win a World Series with the use of analytics, but he also had some pretty good fucking baseball players on those Red Sox teams too. So it was a mix of good baseball players and analytics that led the Red Sox to win the World Series. So like a lot of things in life, it's a copycat world, right? So now, the Red Sox won a World Series. Let's all buy into this analytics and let's try and model ourselves after them. And I think baseball became its own worst enemy with use of analytics because what are we looking at now? We're looking at a bunch of ways to shorten the game now, right? They're now legislating rules to shorten the game. But analytics, in a way, extended the game because you had, conversations with hitters and the hitting coach about what pitches to swing at and what pitches not to swing at because this is your hot zone. So only swing at pitches that are in your hot zone. So guys are taking more pitches, which means the pitchers are throwing more pitches, which means there's more pitching changes, which means there's longer innings, which means there's more walks, which means the game is just extended. Then you have the evolution of we have all this data. Now we're going to shift. We're going to shift the hell out of every hitter. So I looked at the shift. They started tracking it on StatCast in 2015. In 2015, the league shifted 10% of the time. By 2022, the last year that the shift was allowed, it was over 37%. And the Toronto Blue Jays in 2022 shifted 74% of the time.
Just going to say there's teams that did it way more than that.
Yeah. 74% of the time the Blue Jays shifted. And
that was just infield, Chris?
Infield shifts, yeah. 74% of the time. And it took away hits, which obviously affects batting average, which affects on base, which affects runs. But
were the shifts like moving three guys on one side of the infield, or was it just moving a little?
It could be anything. It could be anything where they were out of position, not in their normal.
Okay.
The second baseman going, 3/4 away in the right field.
Okay.
Shortstop on the other side of the bag.
Gotcha.
And even today, like they've legislated to shift out, but guys are still shifting as far over as they can go, getting as deep as they can go. And hits are still being taken away. And kind of just like if you look at those same like benchmark dates, like 2003, I looked at like let me see, I kind of see my screen here. So bunting, 2003. This is per team per game. There were 0.33 bunts per team per game in 2003. Last year, 0.09. They have completely taken bunting out of the game. They've completely taken that offensive strategy out of the game because analytics tells you you're giving up an out, and that's bad. But they also say that strikeouts don't matter. Yeah, and you can see from 2003, strikeouts per game in 2003, strikeouts per team per game was 6.34. Last year was 8.61. So over 2 strikeouts per team per game in 20 years is now the norm. Balls put in play last year, 24.26 balls put in play per team compared to 27.17 in 2003. So the game is not the same game that we grew up watching. That's part of the problem with the length of the game and why MLB has to shorten it, because it's boring. There's all this time with nothing happening. Teams have stopped playing for the 1-run inning and they're waiting for the 3-run homer have 3 runs in 1 inning rather than 3 1-run innings and compiling runs, opponent runs. And when the 3-run homer doesn't come, the game is boring and it's nothing but strikeouts and walks. And analytics, while information is good and you need it to make good, sound decisions, sitting there watching Rob Thompson with that stupid goddamn fucking notepad or binder that he has, I almost feel like I'm in the 4th grade where, you had to find the XY vertex, what's the situation? 7th inning, there's 2 outs and 2 men on. Let me go this way. Oh, this is what I have to do. And there's some computer geek up in the press box going, yeah, Rob, that's what the numbers tell you to do. And the game's being run by people that have never put on a glove, never swung a bat, and never put on a pair of cleats.
Chris, I want you in a mummer's outfit immediately, fucking banging on a podium, saying it's the whole
fucking thing.
It's the whole league.
The games are boring. The games are boring.
We need to rename this episode because I'm going to get on my soapbox about how I like baseball back in the day later on about pitching. And I think it's season 2, episode 2, the old geezers talk baseball.
The old days.
What scares me though is like, the old timers are a dying breed. Like in the game of baseball, the old time baseball guys aren't going to be around. And this new age thinking and new age player is what we're seeing with the launch angle and all this bullshit that's leading to more strikeouts, more home runs. But to be honest with you, baseball was more exciting when there were less home runs. I liked when the home run was the oddity, not the expected, where every game you got 8 home runs being hit.
Yeah,
I like when they're I'd rather see a double in the gap that scores 2 runs than a fucking 3-run homer at this point.
The home run used to be the treat.
Yeah,
I would say it used to be the treat. Like
now a fucking single's the treat.
Yeah,
single. Everybody goes, holy shit, he hit a single.
How about this one? Do you remember this sign? It's where you go to across the chest to the left wrist indicator to the hat, hit and run. It never fucking happens.
Baby. The hat
hit and run. We all know it's a hit and run. It's gone.
Yeah.
I don't even think the third base coach has that in his repertoire anymore.
Dude, if it's if it's .0003 bunts, it's like .0001 hit.
Yeah.
I mean, like baseball has basically had to legislate rules to make the game more exciting now with bigger bases. The pitcher can only throw over so many times. So now stolen bases are up because there's less of a risk to run. Where analytics said, oh, you're giving away an out if you get thrown out, rather than trying to make something happen, trying to make something exciting happen. But I mean, everything's down from 2003 hits per game from 9.07 to 8.4. I mean, the excitement, the action is dead. It's dead and it's going away. And we just sit back and we wait for Kyle Schwarber to go 1 for 4 with a 3-run homer every game. And that in the analytic world, he's a god. He's a leadoff hitter because he might walk one time during that 1 for 4 stretch. It doesn't make sense. It's not the game I grew up with, and it's. I'm afraid that in 10 years this game is not even going to be watchable.
I mean, Jesus Christ, we're trying to get people to like our group and like baseball, and we're telling you fucking reasons why not to. I just had a fucking soliloquy for 7 minutes about batting average, and then it's true. What were you saying, John?
Yeah, to touch on your point about batting average. You remember? I mean, you went to Rome. You got in high school. You went outside of Rome, and you got your newspaper. You looked in the stats from the night before, but you always looked to where the Triple Crown leaders were, the batting average, and everywhere. Every day, you'd ooh, blah blah blah. Even as recently as Miggy and Suzuki, oh man, he's I would check every day. Not a lot of people are doing that anymore. I used to be excited to do that. Now with all this analytics.
It's a fucking great point because you know what? Luis Arias is not getting a fucking golden bat for fucking being the on-base percentage leader. He's the fucking batting average leader. There's no fucking such thing as a fucking on-base percentage fucking platinum bat.
Right.
There's no plaque.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And about Button,
There's no OPS flag either.
No.
just the other day, I was playing MLB The Show on Xbox, and every at bat, I placed down bunts, and I just kept going around and around. I had like a 9-run inning. The dude quit. So fuck you, Kyle. That's small ball, baby.
John, I don't know how you don't go on there and like find some. I don't know how like the online gaming works because I haven't done it, but like find someone from New York and just fucking hit every Met. Just be the Phillies and just hit them. Just keep hitting them until he fucking gives up.
Like, I've done that. Like you could tell, like with their screen names where they're from. It's like New York or like what's their thing? LFG Mets, like LFGM or whatever in their name, and I'll just like beat them in the head and shit.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fun.
good work. That is good work.
They always quit though. It's like, I'm like, bye. It's like they
So
don't
I-
expect you to butt.
I think we went like Chris. Did you talk about your analytics? fully?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
okay,
it. Yeah, I'm
cool.
good.
That was a perfect
Bat-
segue.
batting-
was
Batting
smooth.
average matters and fuck analytics. That's
Yeah.
what I
That's
And with analytics, just a real quick, like Duke said, it is important to have information, but you don't need it to like. You need an old school. I mean, you could absorb some of that information if you're the manager, but like not like have some dork upstairs to like, hey Rob, 15 times out of 16 when the sun sets in the east, he hits a single. You know what I mean? Like you don't need that shit.
yeah.
And I miss the old time kind of manager, like the Jim Lelands, like you know what I mean? The old school
Smoking
dude.
in the dugout, like grabbing a fucking
He darts
heater in
in
the fucking.
He darts in the dugout, baby.
Well, that's
But,
why
um,
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that guys like Girardi and Rob Thompson aren't those old school managers. They've been
Exactly.
around
I'm
for fucking
surprised, too.
ever. Girardi played in that era of bunt guys over and score runs and manufacture runs, and he came here and he might as well have been a fucking robot. Just
Dusty
So, but hang on.
Bochy, like I'm surprised they weren't like that either. And
Go
like
back in the
when
Wayback
you were saying
Machine.
about yeah,
Go
Mike.
back in the Wayback Machine for when Girardi or Thompson took over for Girardi, right? What did we like about him? He did some things from his heart, from his gut, right? When we
Right.
got to
We
the
felt
World
that
Series.
way. Yeah.
And then last year it was a total kind of 180 from that into your notebook, Dugan, that you love. So I think you're going to see this is just everybody don't bet on this. I'm not a financial advisor or a betting advisor, but in my opinion, I think you're going to see somebody who takes the analytics and the like old school gut, baseball knowledge and combine them. And that's going to be one of your next really good managers.
It's us. It's all of us. It's Dugan. It's Mike. It's Sean. It's the whole damn DPF.
The whole team.
We should
I think-
fucking
I
play
think-
manager role.
We saw that with Arizona last
Uh.
year in the end of that series. They went back to play base hit, moving runners. They weren't swinging for the fucking fences. They were taking walk, and their pitchers said, "Oh, these fucking Phillies are going to swing at anything," and they attacked them out of the zone. Like they used the Phillies analytics against them. Trying to hit the home run against them,
Yeah.
and they played a little bit of a smaller ball game, and they fucking beat the Phillies, at home 2 games. It
And
works.
did you hear?
It's winning baseball.
Dude,
Did you hear this shit
I got
about
you sitting right next to him, man. You're talking about game 6 and 7.
hear the shit about Thompson maybe feeling comfortable with the friggin'
Yep.
Schwarber at leadoff again? I wanted
I
to
read
shoot
it.
myself.
Well,
I'm like,
John,
you gotta
let's
be
move
kidding.
let's move into you, man. Like, why don't you take over? Because like you're up next, so you're going to talk about Double D and
Yeah,
roster moves or not roster moves. So we'll
yeah.
yeah.
Doing this once again in the hopes that maybe Dave's watching. I'm not going to beat everybody's ears with this next episode unless we sign somebody of note. Colby Allard is not that fucking guy. 6.10 ER career ERA. I don't know what Dave's trying to. I think the Phillies are trying to be like that girl that takes the scrub and it's like, I can fix him. You know what I mean? Like the deadbeat, like, oh, he's once you get to know him, but
Yeah.
no, he's a scrub.
It was like those
Um,
90s movies where like the girl had glasses and you knew she was going to be good looking at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they were called. But it was-
Princess Diaries.
yeah, Princess Diaries, She So, whatever. Like it's all the same one. But
Like-
you're right, John.
like us will be like, hey Dave, he sucks, and Dave will be like, you don't know him how I know him. I'll fix him.
Oh my god.
And he winds up being a dirtball. But yeah, I don't understand what Dave is doing. I get it, like he's waiting to see the market, but the market's almost closed. You know what I mean? This little piggy went to the market and went home.
20 days. Pitchers.
We re-signed Anola and we signed Colby Allard. That's it. And we did the international signings, but we do that every damn year.
And it took
So,
65 days in between those two. We were waiting
Yeah.
65 days.
Yeah, and they
I
want
can't
to.
I can't believe they put him on the 40 man right away. I
That's
thought
wild. That's
a
wild
minor
to
league
me.
deal, but it's like a split deal, and he's on the 40 man. So there's
Yeah.
only one. I think there's one opening now on the 40 man.
They do.
He,
They're down to
he
one.
has I think he has an option too. And also,
Hey, John,
Yeah, he
I
does.
wanted to ask you
yeah,
about this.
yeah.
Do you think that, given 20 days till pitchers and catchers, we don't do anything else except maybe sign Weaver to an extension, and we're kind of saving up for what it looks like at the trade deadline? Do you think that's the plan?
Yeah, in our conversations, like in the group chat and all, like I'm starting to think that way. I wasn't before. I'm like, all right, they're waiting to market out and all, but I'm looking at the dwindling list. Like I got like a short list of like the top guys that are left, and I'm like, there's guys we don't even need. Like we don't need a third baseman. We don't need, shortstop. And like Michael Taylor would make sense, but I don't think we're gonna do it. I would love to have Michael Taylor in center field, Rojas be the fourth outfielder. It would make perfect sense. Go grab Duvall as an extra bat. Snell only has one damn offer from the Yankees, 6 years, 120, I think it was. That's the only offer that's out there for Snell so far.
He's the
Look
one
up.
guy I'm thinking like Dombrowski getting closer to spring training, maybe swoop in with like a 2-year deal for
Right.
Snell, like big money, like throw like 22, 23, 24 a year at him
It's just a
for
short
2
deal.
years, short deal.
Right.
See if you can get him to take something like that rather than a long-term deal where you're locked in, to another guy for 4, 5, 6 years,
Chris, I agree with that. Like, but don't you want them to lock Wheeler in before they do
Oh,
anything else?
100%,
Shouldn't that be
yeah.
their
Oh.
next move?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that should be
I
their
think
next
they're-
move.
I heard by the end of spring training they want to get that done. I would prefer them before. I would prefer him to go into spring training comfortable, knowing he's extended and knowing he's here for
Yeah.
a long time, not having to worry about it later. But yeah, like Mike was saying, I think they might just wait till the deadline and see what happens. But also what Dugan said made sense too. I did hear rumblings about that online about, they're going to wait and see who's around in, spring training, who doesn't make a club, whatever. But then I'm hearing all kinds of shit too. I heard that we might be interested in Lorenzen, and so are the Orioles. I don't want Lorenzen back. I'm sorry. Thanks for the no-hitter, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Just extend
Agreed.
Wheeler. I'm hearing maybe we're interested in Nearest. I'm not interested in that either because I heard he wants a multi-year deal, and I'm not giving him
He
a
wants
multi-year
big
deal.
money. He wants big
Yeah.
money too. Nerd.
Yeah.
I
I'm
saw
not-
his number. He wanted 14 or 15 a year, I think. He wanted big
Yeah,
money.
he wants multi-year
good.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're good. So
Yeah.
I mean, now that like
I'm
Hicks,
kind of interested in like Maton, like a Phil Maton in the bullpen. I kind of like him because I think he's got some flexibility to be a back end guy and give you maybe multiple innings if you needed them. So he's just one of those like swing guys that I like. But
yeah,
Just
I do
can't
think
let him
he-
give a hit up to his brother and he punches a
yeah,
locker.
break his hand. Yeah,
yeah, I think he might. I think Dave just might, for right now, he might just be filling little holes. Like go
Yeah.
get a little bench bat here. Go get like maybe a like not an
Well,
elite
go and get it
reliever,
already,
but
for God's sake.
a middle,
Yeah.
a middle of the road reliever somehow. Just a couple extra guys, and then they'll see at the deadline. But if we're gonna wait for the deadline, you better be going for Corbin Burns, dude. Like, don't make me wait for some scrub ass deal at the deadline.
Couldn't
Well,
agree more.
We'll be on.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to move to some viewer comments, and I'm always looking forward to the first fuck the Mets, so hopefully it's very, very early. I wanted to say that I did post the link to our game on the 18th here. So again, it is in the comments. I'm showing it on the screen now for those that are just listening. All right, the first one, Mike Warnock. Fuck the Mets. Happy podcast day. There we go. Love getting a fuck the Mets in there quickly. I did not look, but I hoped.
Our folks usually come.
Yeah, they usually come through. We got Mike from Perrysburg, Ohio. Love DPF. We love
That's
you too,
close to
man.
Pittsburgh, isn't it, Mike?
That is.
Perrysburg is, yeah, it actually is. It's actually close to where I live too.
Welcome.
Welcome. Matt, people are getting too crazy with making new stat categories. They're getting too deep. Let's just stay in old school baseball. Awesome, Matt Mullen. You know what? We're going to add a new fuck-the. We're going to say fuck Bill James.
Fuck Sabermetrics.
He's up there with,
It's the Analytica.
yeah,
Okay.
he's up there with Joe Carter, Gary Carter.
There's another guy.
Scott Nolan.
Carter. Nell Carter.
Yeah, Nell Carter.
No,
too.
fuck no, Carter.
Poor Nell. Poor Nell.
Yeah, there's another guy now,
She
Billy
never did.
Bean. Billy
Oh,
Bean, that
yeah,
whole
Billy Bean.
his whole system's around analytics.
Yeah, you know what? I liked Brad Pitt in the Fight Club, but he played Billy Bean, so fuck Brad Pitt too.
There you go.
Harry, what's up, my man? Harry's a long time DPFer. That's good stuff. Love seeing it. Wally, analytics suck. Took away from the game. Completely agree. Thanks for chiming in.
I think you got 4 proponents of that.
Dugan's favorite cousin and our
My favorite cousin.
totally agree. So I'm sure she was agreeing with me and you and Mike and John because like Amy's good stuff. So we appreciate you tuning in, Amy, and
Thanks, Ian.
saying that. So thank you. Oh my God, we're gonna set this up for Dugan a little bit later. We got Anthony saying he Mrs. Reese. So
Cousin John.
I think you have no.
is it cousin John?
Yeah, it's cousin
I
John.
think, I think
Yeah.
cousin John has no supporters on this side of the microphone.
Oh my God.
Hey, I don't miss Reese, cuz.
So Wally, the 3-run jack is the Earl Weaver like management technique, and that's a great point. That's when I hear the 3-run home run, that's what I think of. But you know, it was different then too.
He used
It
to
was
get a
the
walk, a
70s.
single to right field, bunt him over, and then the guy would hit a 3-run homer.
Yeah, but he also had Frank Robinson, who was like, you know, a triple crown winner in both leagues almost. So it was different. In my opinion, shorten it to 7 innings then. So this is Rob saying this. So Rob, I don't know if you've talked to Anthony Rendon. Or if this is Anthony Rendon's burner account.
Great call.
We used to play
That's a good
7
one.
innings in college for like for
Yeah.
double headers, and I thought it was such fucking bush league nonsense.
Agreed.
I just was like, why are we doing 7 innings? What are we, fucking 10?
I agree with you so much. I only pitched on Sunday, which was 9 innings.
Yeah, like I was like, why the fuck would we do that? Amy again, baseball's not cut and dry. No, I'm feeling like this is going to be a quote, and it's probably going to be on the garage somewhere, and I didn't even read it yet. Baseball is not cut and dry. Numbers are a suggestion. Fundamentals. Get on base, move them up. How many did we leave on base chasing the long ball? So I don't say it as good, but we're going to have Morgan Freeman doing the DPF documentary saying that. It's going to be killer.
James Earl Jones.
Oh, yeah. Doing
One
a
of
Darth
them, right?
Vader
One
voice,
of them,
too.
right?
Yeah. Megan, what's up? Go Phillies, go Flyers, and as always, fuck the Mets. Another fuck the Mets. Love that. Always love a good fuck the Mets. George, fuck the Mets and Joe Carter. We love that. Let's see. Oh, I don't know what Papa Joe said, Papa John, but we're gonna put it up, and I'm gonna trust John that we're gonna have to add a P word because. Why does everybody go by analytics? You still have to hit, run, bunt, and pitch. No way in hell playing ball growing up. No one thought about it. Hit and run and pitch. This is like I picture Papa John as like Buttermaker,
Yep.
like just sitting there in the dugout with 2 fucking beers,
And a
just,
heater.
yeah, and maybe like a heater in one of them, and he's like, he's just going back
Cigar.
and forth. Both beers are open. Papa John, great fucking point. Love that. I'm going to leave some comments for later, but I did see Harry give us a fuck the Mets, play some real baseball. I love that shit. That is awesome. So we are going to move over to Mike, and he's going to give us the dumbass of the week.
So as always, a quick reminder. So we had an outfielder. His name was Odubel Herrera.
Mhm.
He did a lot of dumb shit.
Yep.
And so
Probably still is.
probably he did a lot of dumb shit in the field, like break the wrong way in or out or left or right. He did a lot of dumb shit on the base paths, like got picked off a lot and ran on line drives and got thrown out. And he did a lot of dumb shit at the plate, like swinging at balls like Castellanos does now. And so while we were watching him, shout out to Freddie Love, and I used to call him the O Dumbass. And so we dreamed up this little segment called the O Dumbass of the Week. So this week's O Dumbass is brought to you from Leeds, Alabama. So I'm going to set a picture for you. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
We're at a Bass Pro Shop.
Okay.
It's
That
nearing.
makes sense.
It's nearing closing time. A pickup truck comes screaming into the parking lot and smashes right into a light pole, a parking lot pole. 42-year-old gentleman jumps out, proceeds to strip naked as he exits the vehicle. He sprints right to the front door, through the front door, makes a beeline for the giant aquarium, and jumps in and starts swimming around. Not only does he jump in, though, there are bystanders that have it on tape. He did a cannonball, so he won up the jump in with a cannonball. Swims around for a bit, and then if you guys and if the listeners have ever been into a Bass Pro Shop, they always have a waterfall. So he's kind of like just letting the waterfall, rain down on him, basically. And at this point, two officers start coming up the stairs to come and get him out of this this waterfall. So he jumps over the railing and he just starts cursing at him. He jumps back into the aquarium, and the officers kind of take a up and a down approach, and the gentleman jumps out opposite the stairs, except that out of the aquarium over the stairs is about a 20-foot drop. So when he hits the floor, he knocks himself out. As he comes to, the officers are handcuffing him. That's when he, by the way, remember, he's naked, starts fighting the officers. They finally subdued him and got him into the, arrested him, got him into the back of the police car. On the way to the cop shop, he damages the inside of the back of the police car. So when they get him, and somebody from Bass Pro Shop threw a blanket on him so that at least he was covered in the back of the police car. Man was charged with lewdness, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, 2 counts of first-degree criminal mischief, and 2 counts of reckless endangerment. So all of that just to have a swim at the Bass Pro Shop. So that is your Oh Dumbass of the Week.
Oh my goodness. Once you said Leeds, Alabama, I don't know where it is, but I know it wasn't going good. Like, you hear Leeds, Alabama, and you're like, all right, this is going to be absolute fucking trouble. Like,
I have a feeling that Jason Kelsey was 2 beers away from being the dumbass of the week when he was in Buffalo.
Right?
Oh my
Man.
God.
Man,
He
back
was
in my
close.
day,
I think his mom reined him in.
Mike,
Stripping
jumping
naked.
in the aquarium was just a random Tuesday.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, when Mike's saying these, I'm watching Chris and I'm watching John, and they're like, all right, it definitely wasn't me, right? It was Leeds, Alabama. Have I ever been to Leeds, Alabama? And I'm like, nah. I was like, I respect police. I would never, like, assault a police officer.
No.
Like,
At least
jumping
not
in like
naked.
the right. Well, yeah. I mean, the Bass Pro Shop, like, there's bass in there. Like, I don't know. Like, they could mistake something for a worm, and I'm like, I'm not fucking with that.
No.
I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I'm not doing that. I am just
We
not
haven't
doing
had
that.
We haven't had any
He knocked himself
dumbasses.
out. Go ahead, John.
We haven't had any dumbasses of the week from Massachusetts yet. So, woo.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
We're going to kick it over to John. He's going to talk about a minor league update, and I think Adelaide Giants.
Yes.
But John, take it away, man.
Yes. Talking about small ball, a team that plays small ball other than the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's the Adelaide Giants, the Australian Baseball League, with most of your Phillies prospects from the blue calls on them. They wrapped up the regular season this past weekend. And talking about small balls, grizzled minor leaguer Quinty Lattimore, he's been around for a while. League leader, 5 home runs, 35 RBIs, 322 average. Nick Ward, who unfortunately the Phillies, we blue claws lost him to the Braves now. He's going to be the MVP of the whole Australian League, actually. He's expected to win the award. 6 home runs, 26 RBIs, 324 average.
Was he a
And my
Rule
man,
5? Was he a
Huh?
Rule 5 loss?
No, I don't know. He was a free agent, I think. I think he might have been one of the DFAs we DFA'd, because we DFA'd a lot of people in the minors.
Okay.
I got to go back and check that. But I know he was free. I expected him to be on the blue calls this year, but the Braves scooped him up, which is I wish him well, though. He's a good player. And my man Pots and Pans, Rickson Wingrove, 4 homers, 31 RBIs, 297. Like, that's the thing with these guys. That's why I like watching these blue calls guys play. And I mean, the other minor leaguers, too. They play the small ball. If you look at the up and down the stats of all the Adelaide Giants, I mean, the highest home runs might be like 6, but then the RBIs are like 45, 32, 27. You know what I mean? Everybody's like getting on base, producing high averages, high on base percentages. So I like to see that. And when I get the chance to watch them, if they're not too late on the weekend, I just like watching. It's the only place I could catch some small ball, pretty much. Our guy Braden Falsnut, 4-2 record, 2.53 ERA. 33 strikeouts and 32 innings pitched. So
Westchester University. He's a Westchester guy.
So they were some league leaders. They went. The Giants went 29-11 for the season, and wound up 4.5 games ahead of first place. They just wrapped up the regular season last weekend, and they play they call it the preliminary final series, but we'll just call it the first round of the playoffs. Best of 3, and we were talking before the podcast started in our little pregame thing. It is I had to correct myself, Chris. It is tonight because tomorrow's Friday. It'll be Friday there. So sometime tonight, I got to look that up. I'll post it on the page if anybody's interested. I'll be in bed, but they play Friday. They play Friday there at 7, Saturday at 7, and Sunday 5 p.m. if necessary. They're playing against the Melbourne Aces. How their playoffs go is first place plays 4th and second place 3rd in a 3-game series in the first round. And then the winners of both rounds, obviously make the championship. So I'm rooting for them hard and see what we're gonna go from there. I got my Giants gear on the way. Hopefully it comes soon before the championship, so I can rock it. Maybe I can rock it on the next pod.
Like I said, is that what you said before?
Huh?
You and 9 other fans, is that what you said?
Yeah, me and 9 is on there. I do when I do post about them, I see maybe like 7, 8, 9, maybe. We've gotten to 12 on the page. One of them's always cool. Mike.
No, it's super.
One of them's always Mike. So
did you see the recent post of what their field looks like, of where they're playing? It's right on the freaking beach.
Oh,
it is awesome.
Yeah.
Like they did like a drone picture. I was like, all right.
I need to check that out.
I mean,
and
I'm
cool
not watching
their
it in the
games
morning, but it's cool.
It's cool watching
is
their
there a way
games
for
because
you to tape that like bootleg style and send it to us so that we can watch it during the day?
Yeah, can we?
Oh yeah, I should mention that for people that can't watch it live on their site and also the Baseball Plus app, which you can register on both for free. It doesn't cost a dime. You can go back and watch the replays of any game during the season, any game.
Perfect. So you're watching it on MLB, like the app, like you have the.
No, it's an app. It's an app called Baseball Plus.
Okay.
It's like the plus sign, though, like not the word plus.
Okay.
It's a free app, and it has all their. It's just for the Australian League.
Joni,
And
put
you can
that
go
on our
on-
site, will you? For everyone
Yeah, I definitely will.
after this.
And
I try to.
is your passcode for that the same as for your Netflix? I love Big John's.
And I cannot lie.
No, my Netflix and the other brothers can't deny.
All right.
But yeah, I try to every time I post about the Giants, I try to put the link at the bottom and then tell people where to put the get the app. But yeah, it's Baseball Plus, but it's the plus sign, not the word plus. And yeah, that's I won't be watching tonight, but I'm going to try to catch one of the games this weekend.
Cool.
So
Cool. All right. I'm excited for this next segment in the way I'm excited for a dumbass. Rhys Hoskins with Dugan.
Rhys Hoskins. So let me start. I know there's a lot of fans. Cousin John got on there with his shedding a tear. I'm gonna pour one out for our guy Rhys. I'm pouring one out for our guy Rhys. Give him a second. If you really think I fucking poured one out for that asshole, you're wrong.
Attaboy.
there you go.
No,
Cheers.
Seriously, Rhys Hoskins. By all accounts, he's a really good guy, Rhys Hoskins, and we've seen that. Always a guy willing to step up, do the interview after the game, whether he had a good game or a bad game, whether the team had a good game or a bad game. He was a stand-up guy. He stood in front of those cameras and answered all the questions. Philly guy, you know, he was he's been here. He was kind of, and this is where I think people's affinity for Rhys Hoskins come. He was that guy when the Phillies stunk that at least he was watchable. Rhys Hoskins was that guy, you know, that made the Phillies relevant when they stunk. And I think that's why people have Rhys-colored glasses when it comes to him as a ball player. When
That is Chris,
Put that
that's
on.
perfect.
Yeah, put that on a
is
shirt.
Freaking perfect. Rhys-colored glasses. Like, let's not skip that.
So
There's two other things though that gives them Rhys colored glasses. He's very visible in the community, right? And chicks dig him. That's all. Like
he's a good dude. I mean, he's 100% a good dude. I don't have anything bad, you know, about Rhys Hoskins the person. And when he first came up, I mean, he had that hot streak of home runs, like record-setting home runs. Once he finally got hot when he was here, and he's had tremendous big moments. You know, Chris, you and I were at that game against the Padres in the playoffs. He hit the two big home runs when they fell behind. You know, 2-run homer, 3-run homer. Yeah, obviously the Strider home run and the bat slam. You know, those are things that you're going to remember forever. Big moments that Rhys Hoskins had. But the current state of the Phillies and the way the makeup of this team is, unfortunately, Rhys Hoskins doesn't fit. I thought, my opinion of Rhys Hoskins was he was a much better hitter when he first came up. I thought he was a guy that knew his strike zone and was aggressive in the strike zone when he first came up. And somehow he lost that aggressiveness. Too many times I remember watching a Rhys Hoskins get back going, why did he take that fastball? Why the fuck is he looking for a walk? Why is he not swinging the fucking bat? Now, if you look at his numbers, I mean, 30 home runs, you know, whatever. I mean, he's only had 90 RBIs once in his career, but he's a 30 home run guy pretty much on the regular. But he's such a streaky hitter where it's all in bunches. He would have long stretches of not being able to hit a beach ball off a tee, and then he'd be the best hitter in baseball for a week, and you couldn't get anything by him. And we all knew when those streaks were coming because he would get hot when he started hitting the ball to right field. You'd see those balls in the gap to right center, and you get, oh, here he comes. We're going to get a Rhys hot streak, and boom, and he would. But the current makeup of this team, once you decided that Harper was going to be your first baseman, there's no place for Rhys Hoskins on the Phillies. There's just no place. He's too much of that similar guy that we don't want. Too many strikeouts, can't run, and now coming off an ACL, he definitely isn't going to be any faster than he was before, and he's a terrible defensive player. So it came down to, who do you want as your DH? Do you want Schwarber? Do you want Hoskins? Because that's basically the only thing those two guys can do. Schwarber is a 40-plus home run guy. Hoskins a 30 home run guy. Schwarber's a 100-plus RBI guy. Reese is an 80-plus RBI guy.
Yep.
The answer is obvious. And it's unfortunate. He was a Philly his whole career. Good guy, big moments. We just don't have the space for the strikeouts, the slow base running, the errors in the field. The lack of versatility that he can give you. He's a one-trick pony. I'm going to hit a home run or I'm going to strike out. And he's going to walk a lot. But he's just not the same player he was when he first came up, in my opinion, the same hitter.
Yeah, Chris, there's like two things that you said like made really a lot of sense, but also gave me PTSD. Like right now, we have these guys that like will swing out of, it's like a slider outside. 4 or 5 years ago, like what was the book on the Phillies? Throw a fastball down the goddamn fucking middle of the plate and they'll look at it. And like Reese was like bad at that for a long time. It was terrible.
And I think that was the Kapler era with here's your hot zone. Only swing when your pitch is in the hot zone, and guys took so many goddamn good pitches,
I fucking numb nuts.
Yeah.
And the other is like, I'm on the podcast, so I'm going to reuse a joke. Like, it's hilarious to me that Reese Hoskins is going to a team where a glove is their logo and he lacks one. So I hope Milwaukee Brewer fans, if you're listening to this, do not let him on the field. He will get you 30 home runs. He'll get you 80 RBIs, and he will butcher 30 to 40 fucking balls. Do not let him on the field. I'm like, Rowdy Tellez is a fucking Gold Glover compared to this dude. Rowdy
and he's
Tellez
a big motherfucker.
Is a Gold Glover compared to Reese Hoskins.
Yeah.
And I like him. But like the other, my real second point before the joke is people say he's the heart and soul of the Phillies. When? I'm not getting that. I never got that.
I never.
I think it's because he was out front. He was the guy that was out front. But
he was the community guy.
I don't think the bullpen. I don't think the clubhouse. They're not bad guys in there, so you don't really need that clubhouse presence. Like it's not like he's wrangling the bad boys.
Right.
I think there's enough of a presence in that locker room that really isn't going to be missed. And people talk about, oh, you're going to miss his bat. You're going to miss his bat. Well, last year they scored more runs without him. They hit more home runs without him. They've already replaced his bat because signing Turner, who gave them some pop. Alec Bohm is getting better every year. Bryson Stott getting better every year. Yeah. Brandon Marsh getting better every year. We're going to have a Harper for a full season, hopefully with no injuries this year. And not to mention how much better their defense got when they were able to move Harper to first base and play Rojas in center and Marsh in left. Their defense got exponentially better. That helps your pitching. That keeps runs down. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and it's unfortunate. Good guy. Just time for him to go. It's time for him to go.
Philadelphia is going to miss Jamie Hoskins more. They're going to miss Reese.
Yeah, exactly.
Buying the beers. That's it.
Yeah. And
Reese didn't do nothing last year. So,
to Dukin's point, I mean, you're gonna be out front when you're the groundskeeper for the year. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's true.
Sweeping up bubblegum wrappers all last year. He's gonna be on camera a little bit, but he's no Von Hayes.
I wish the guy the best. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I think just based on what he's done in his 6 years here with the Phillies, he's probably going to be a guy that's talked about in Wall of Fame. In the future, he might be on the Phillies Wall of Fame. But he's had some big home runs, and he was, like I said, he was that bridge guy from when we sucked to now when we're a competitive baseball team. He's the glue that ties those two eras together, and people gravitated to Reese because, he could hit a home run at any moment. So Reese Hoskins is the best player on the Phillies in 17, 18, 19 when the team wasn't, that good.
Won 59, 62 games.
Yeah.
So
he's Jim Baptiste or Steve Jeltz of, this era. So, he had a big home run. He had a big hit in 93, with them. So,
Yeah.
He's no Rico. He's no Rico Bronya.
Well, no.
Not with the glove.
Rico.
Brony with a glove on his foot would be better than Hoskins.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah. Sorry for all the Reese lovers out there. But
Yeah.
it's time
Plus,
to-
he's on
it's
a
time to
fraud
go.
team now. He's on a fraud ass team.
He might
win
get
the
traded. He
division.
might get traded at the deadline. Who knows?
To us, yeah. We might need a.
Oh,
a
no,
lead
no.
off the
Burns and
bench.
Hoskins back to the Phillies.
No, no.
So we're going to move into. I don't know if I'm going to do this as a recurring segment, but I wanted to do something called Cup of Coffee, and I was like thinking about it and like kind of talking with a few people, like, what should I call this segment? It's like the Moonlight Graham, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about. So not a deep dive. I'm going to go into a player that got a cup of, it's not even a cup of coffee. It's a sip. And it's a sip more than we've all had. And a sip is enough. So in Phillies history, there have been over 2,000 players who have played for the Phillies or put on the uniform. From 1883 to now, 2,000 players. So I did a little bit of research, and 30 of those 2,000 plus have had what I would consider a cup of coffee. So they got called up, they got their taste of the league, and maybe it was only a game, 2 games, 3 games, a little bit. You know, September call-ups used to be a thing. Now, I wanted to go deeper into the rabbit hole, and I wanted to have someone who played 1 game in Major League Baseball ever. That's what this segment is about. So I looked, and there's 9 Phillies players that have had done this at all time. So I looked at the most recent because you may not remember him because I don't and didn't, but he's still around and relevant and in baseball right now. So I thought that this was kind of cool. His name's Travis Chapman. He attended school in Jacksonville, Florida. He went to Mississippi State, was I think 17th round draft pick, played in the Cape Cod League. Like, this dude was like legit. Like, you're not in the Cape Cod League if you're like, you know, not a possible, premier player. He played in the minor leagues in the Phil system for quite a while. So his big time that happened was September 2nd, 2003. He was called up. He was called up at the same time as Ryan Madsen, believe it or not. So think about it, like putting that into perspective. In 2003, Travis Chapman was the International League Player of the Year. So he got called up on his merit. It wasn't just because he didn't have options. Like, this guy was like, maybe, you know, the next thing that was going to happen. They didn't know. And I don't know the full story about that. It's tough to see it from stats and kind of like going through stories. But he didn't play. So like September 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. The 9th, they're finally at Turner Field. They're up 18-3 the 7th inning. Larry Bow is the manager. Tomas Perez is playing third at the time. And, you know, Larry says, you know, kid, go in there. So he gets 1 at bat. 1 at bat ever, batted for Tomas Perez. And got out. So he's 0 for 1 career, played third base, didn't get an error, but there was a hot shot down the left third base line that he stopped but couldn't get the guy at first. That was it. Never played again. 1 at bat, 1 game, never got in again. So he eventually had a good career. So he had, and this is baseball in numbers. It's like just beautiful to me. He had 506 minor league games. Anyone want to have a guess how many hits he had?
506.
506 hits. It's like, it's magical. Like, how does that happen? It's just, it only happens in baseball. I really believe that. So Chapman eventually was always pegged as a coach. He eventually was a coach in the Yankees minor leagues. And he's the first base coach for the New York Yankees right now. Travis Chapman, the sip of coffee, 2003 with the Phils, is, you know, like, he's the Yankees first base coach. it's pretty cool.
Cheers to Trev.
Not a bad career. Any of us on here would have died to have one at bat, one pitch, one ability to kind of go on. And I thought, like, if I talked to him, like, Travis, were you happy? Were you sad about that? Like, can he be sad about it? Like, he played Major League Baseball. He's one of the, 1%, 2%. It's really awesome to kind of see that. So I was, really impressed with being able to, like, the internet, you can find this now, like 9 freaking players. So maybe I'll highlight the other 8. We'll see if there's comments and feedbacks, but I just, it was fun for me to kind of go in that rabbit hole, to be able to look at that.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool stuff.
We're going to go to Mike now. So Mike is going to be a curmudgeon, like all of us were. John's a little younger, so he's not there yet, but we're trying to groom him.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Trust me.
Season 5, he'll get on his
So
curmudgeon streak.
Mike's going to talk about pitching the olden days versus today.
Yeah. So I have a hypothesis. This idea, right? So pitchers of the past. This is my hypothesis. Pitchers of the past, and when I say the past, I mean the 90s, right? Because I'm comparing the 90s against the 2010s. I didn't have enough data from 2000 to 2003 to make a good comparison. So I'm doing 2010 to 2019, 1990 to 1999, right? So my hypothesis is that pitchers of the past would have been even better in today's environment, while today's pitchers would struggle in the olden days. I'm using air quotes, the olden days of the 1990s. So like I was just saying, for this discussion, pitchers from the olden days will be from the 90s. Today will be from the 2010s, which, think about that. That's not that far apart, right? 1999 to 2010 is only a decade, okay? So I'm just going to go through the top pitchers in the 90s and the 2010s and do a little comparison. So think Charles Nagy from the Indians when they were called the Indians. Dennis Martinez from the Expos when they weren't the Nationals. Ramon Martinez from the Dodgers, Andy Pettitte from the Yankees, same with David Wells, Jack McDowell when he was actually with the White Sox, Jose Rio from the Reds, Jimmy Key from the Yankees, Chuck Finley when he was with the Angels, Schilling with the Phillies, Kevin Appier with the Royals, John Smoltz with the Braves, Kevin Brown with the Rangers, David Cone when he was at the Royals, Mike Messina when he was with the Orioles, Pedro Martinez from the Red Sox, Tom Glavine from the Braves, Randy Johnson from the Mariners, and Roger Clemens from the Red Sox, and Maddox from the Braves. If you look up the top 20 pitchers in the 90s, those are the guys that are on the list. So if you look up the 2010s, it's John Lester from the Cubs. How do you say his name? Chapman Aroldis? Yeah, that. Chapman from the Yankees. Cliff Lee from the Phillies. Adam Wainwright from the Cardinals, Kenley Jensen from the Dodgers, Yu Darvish when he was with the Rangers the first time, I think, Craig Kimbrell from the Red Sox. Sorry, I said his name out loud. Garrett Cole from the Astros, Madison Bumgarner from the Giants, Cole Hamels from the Phillies, Felix Hernandez from the Mariners, Steven Strasburg from the Nationals, Corey Kluber from the Indians, David Price from when they were the Devil Rays, Jacob deGrom from Fuck the Mets, Zach Greinke from the Dodgers, Chris Sale when he was with the White Sox, Verlander from the Tigers, Scherzer from the Nats, and Kershaw from the Dodgers. So think about those two lists for a quick second. The list from the 90s, the top pitchers, every single pitcher, unless you count Schmaltz from the end of his career being a reliever, were all starters. 25% of those pitchers in that list in the 2010s are relievers, okay? So we're starting to see this shift, right? This is where the difference begins. Number of complete games, right? Plummeted decade by decade. In the 90s, the percentage of complete games was around 12%. In the 2010s, 2.4%. So not even 2.5% of the games were complete games, which is the rise of this specialty relief pitcher, where we began to like less focus on the starter going the distance than having someone that could pitch 5 or 6 innings and then a 6-inning guy, a 7-inning guy, an 8-inning guy, and a closer. Just as a reference, in the 60s, 25% complete games, and in the 70s, 28% complete games. Back further than that, it was even a bigger percentage. And remember, the 90s was 12%, and the 2010s was 2.5%. So with the switch in philosophy and hitting, right, pitching also started to change. You guys talked about, I think last time, contact hitters, right? Dare I say slap hitters, starting to be replaced by the launch angle guys hitting home runs that we've talked about a little bit today. Pitchers figured out that they should be throwing as hard as they can, not pitching for as long as they can. So as hard as you can throw for as long as you can throw, when then we get that 6 inning to 9 inning relief roles. So check this. This stats blew me away. So strikeouts have increased dramatically from the 90s. So in the decade from 1990 to 1999, there were 265,541 strikeouts. Sounds like a lot, right? But in the 2010s, there were 379,957. That's 114,416 more. Now let's just take the best year, right? In the 90s, the best year was 19,766. The best year in the 2010s, 34,306, nearly double that in the 90s. Just kind of piggybacking on what you guys were talking about earlier. So my hypothesis was that pitchers back in the 90s would do better today, and pitchers today would do worse in the 90s. So what I want to say to just wrap this thing up, when I was growing up, I watched pitchers try to outduel folks, right? They tried to outthink folks. Think the Maddoxes and the Smoltzes and the Glavins, right? They tried to figure out who were getting on base and how they could get them out. Hitters were trying to get on base via the walk, via the single. They were trying to move runners over by hitting the ball to the opposite field, by bunting. They were, God forbid, doing a hit and run now and again. They were trying to drive folks in with singles when guys were on second or third, maybe a double in the gap, which is a lost art these days too, and maybe a sac fly, right? That made it like a cat and mouse game. That's what I used to love to do. I used to try and outthink the hitters when I was pitching. So now you fast forward to today, and you got these guys that are flamethrowers, right? They might have a good slider or a curveball, and they might throw it out of the strike zone against the Phillies and get us to chase. I get that. But they throw as hard as they can for as long as they can, and then we bring in the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. So my hypothesis and my opinion is what I say is the top pitchers in the 90s would be even more successful today because they would be able to outsmart the hitters with the launch angle, much like you see, the Nick Castellanos and those guys of today. And the folks that are pitching today would be much less successful against hitters back then because the hitters back then would take walks. They would move batters over. They would not strike out as much today as kind of the data backs up. And so that's kind of my rant and my spiel. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts.
Well, Mike, I'm gonna say something like, how everyone knows like the plate's 17 inches for normal humans, but for Greg Maddux, it was probably 22. Imagine extending the plate to 22 inches and Nick Castellanos having to deal with that. Like it's not possible.
My first thought, Chris, was Greg Maddux would have double-digit no-hitters in today's season.
Oh, yeah.
In the season.
Yeah.
He'd have double-digit
Yes.
no-hitters. And he'd throw 85 pitches in the game and
That's
it.
it.
Have a no-hitter.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Then I started thinking about, Bull Durham and, ground balls and not throwing 3 strikes to someone to strike them out is the better way to go. And I think that's what the mentality of that player in that era was. It wasn't the strikeout. It was like, how can I easily get him out? Not how can I bully him and throw 100 past him. I don't care how you're out. I just want you out.
Out.
27
And as
of-
fast
That's
as
it.
possible. As fast
Yeah.
as possible.
Yep.
Yeah. If
And
you
I
have good
I
fielders-
agree, Mike. I agree that pitchers today, they get away with more mistakes because of the hitters trying to hit the ball 400 fucking feet instead of just trying to hit a line drive back through the middle. So
Yeah.
all those fastballs they get away with throwing down the middle, you throw that pitch to hitters in the 90s, that ball's getting ripped right back past
That's
your
out.
fucking ear. It's
Yeah.
a single, it's a hit, it's a gapper, it's a ball down the line. Hitters in the 90s would kill guys today because of the mistakes they make with their fucking fastball. Where today guys they're dropping their shoulder and they're under the ball, and guys back in the day with that level swing would be fucking ripping them. And Maddox and Glavine and all those guys would fucking eat these hitters up today. They would fucking eat them alive.
There you go.
And
Chris, did you
the
ever think of growing a beard, and putting a mummers thing on? Because I really want that from you. Again, I want you to really. It's the whole text. And just spinning into the microphone, I need that from you. I know it's not your gimmick, but one time I want you to surprise me and come on here with the mummers and a full beard.
All right.
Or you know what? Have Will come on.
Yeah, Will looks just like him.
Will
does
looks.
look
Chris's son-in-law looks absolutely just like Kelsey.
Does he
It's oh my god, it's like we were at the game and they were like, oh my god, that's cool. Kelsey's are hanging with you guys. Well, yeah,
sexiest man alive. He tells me all the time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good job, Mike.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that was very insightful. I love the information that you brought, and also not only pitchers, the hitters, hitters in the '90s, just your average guys, not your just home run hitters, like Gwynn, and even in the 2000s, Suzuki, Ichiro, they would kill these pitchers with line drives, and they would just for average, they would kill these guys. And just wanted to say pitchers too, pitchers from the 90s, but pitchers overall from back in the day, from the 90s and beforehand, a lot of those records are going to be safe. These pitchers of today are not breaking strikeout records, complete games. Shit, you're lucky if you get you're lucky if you get 2 complete games out of your number one. You know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah. I'm going to go some comments before we close out, but there's a few things that I kind of want to say to the group here and to who's listening. Man, I'm super impressed with the level of dedication that these guys are putting into this. There's notes. I'm looking at Mike's notes. It's not notes. It's a dissertation. I've seen it of Chris. I've seen it of John. We're putting in 2 weeks of research. Yeah. This is serious to us. So I hope I love listening to it. I hope you do too. We're going to go to some comments and then we're going to do, kind of close it out. So I'm going to start it like a fuck the Mets before. So I'm kind of going through. You know what? This is a good spot to start. Old lady says only pay them the way they play, deduct that they suck. You know what? Papa John, you and I get it. We all agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not the way of the world.
I wish.
I mean, it's football. It's not baseball. Football is a lot of incentive, not a lot of guaranteed.
Yeah.
Baseball's a lot of guaranteed and a little bit of incentive.
Yep.
Tracks.
So on Drunk Bills fans, we have nonsense reviews of our products, and I made them up. But they're not totally farcical. They're pretty true. So Steve Mold loves breweries, loves beer, loves baseball, and loves DPF. And that's what we put on there. So Steve M on the webpage, drunkbillsfans.com. If you're listening, fuck Joe Carter, all lowercase, 20% off from 6 p.m. today to 6 p.m. tomorrow. So Steve, thanks for tuning in. Donna, I'm glad that you didn't say anything about Renee's lack of twisted teas in here. Why in the hell is Schwarbs in lead off? Like, I saw your name come up and I hit show and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get called out for this. So
Analytics.
So what the DPF wife did last night, she belongs to the LAOH, so that's like the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. I didn't have any twisted teas available, so she's like, you know what? I'm going to the meeting, not that type of meeting, the LOH meeting. She went down to Curly's Pub and she stayed there till like, till tomorrow. And she's like, if you don't have twisted teas for me here, they got it for me there. Good for you, Renee. I respect that. The message was heard.
Well played.
Curly's a good spot.
Who's your sixth starter if someone gets hurt? I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know about that one.
Nick Nelson.
Mick Abel? Nick Nelson?
Yeah, that's
Garrity,
about it.
Whoever's doing better.
Yeah. Connor Brogdon? I don't know. Do we have starter? Yeah, is that a starter or like what do they call that when you
An
just pitch
opener.
one inning?
An
An
opener.
opener.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me crazy hearing that words. Scott, what's up, man? Phil Maton for Penn and Snell on a short deal or Monty? Yeah, I mean, I'm not against those, but
Scott and I are on
wonder
the
if-
same page. The Philly Cowboy.
Yeah, you just
and I.
mentioned Vaton earlier.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Philly Cowboy and I are on the same page.
fuck Joe Carter in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. David, you are DPF. That's an awesome
Yes.
comment. I appreciate that. Rick, Philly's last batting champ was Richie Ashburn in 1958, 66 years ago. Who will be the next Philly to do this?
Oh.
Juan Pierre, if he comes back. I think he might be the only guy who hit over 300.
I think Stock could do it. Stock could do it.
I think, yeah.
Oh, that's a good
I was
one.
about to say Stott. Yeah.
He has that, ability to like two strike it
Two
and
strikes,
not swing
yeah.
for the fence. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Mike, Perrysburg is in Northwest Ohio, just south of Toledo Mud Hens. So when I think of the Toledo Mud Hens, I grew up watching MASH with my dad and
Yeah.
mom, and I think of Klinger.
Klinger.
Because he had the Toledo Mud
Yeah.
Hens hats. He was a cross dresser, but I mean, I don't know. He liked baseball. I don't
He was,
I don't
he was
care
ahead
what
of his
you're doing.
time.
He
Ahead of his
was.
time.
So we have Christy with the DPF wife check-in. Checking in on all of us. Thank you for checking in, Christy. That's awesome. You are awesome. Some drugs don't agree with some people. Desky, I'm not sure what we were talking about then, but that's probably true. Like ayahuasca and Aaron Rodgers, don't do it, dude. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Desky's coming to the DPF night. I seen on Twitter there.
Yeah, yes, he is. Steve Mole, this is a great listen while I map out what breweries I want to go to tomorrow. We knew this. Like, it's funny, but Steve Molds has been to 2,743 breweries.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's completely not
Only the
true, but
last
everyone
month,
here
wasn't it?
believes it. Yeah, and that was just in the last month. That's right, Chris.
That was
Today?
Tuesday.
Oh, this is a good point. Papa John asks, in Australia, since the water goes down the drain the opposite way, do they run the bases the opposite way? But we're gonna leave that to Son John. Is it true?
The games are on a little late in the at night, so I mean it's possible that I've seen them do this once in a while after a few beers.
It's possible. All right. Logan Duckworth. I thought that was going to be Brandon. How's your dad doing, man? I liked he played here in some tough times too. Let's see. Were you all this good in math at school? From the DPF wife Christy. Wow. I would say no.
No.
I would
I had
say
sister-
no.
I had Sister Ruth at St. Martin's. No.
They asked the wrong things. They weren't like, hey, what was the batting average? And we're
Right.
like, well, what was the plate appearances versus at bats?
Right.
Like, did he walk?
Yeah.
I
It'd be
I
like-
took statistics in the summer for a reason. It was
Yeah.
easier.
It'd be like John had 3 apples. Sally walked 2 feet. What time does the train get to Chattanooga?
Baseball math is different than regular math.
That's true.
Yeah.
Donna, pitch count and launch angle velocity is all BS. I appreciate the use of
Yeah.
BS, but man, I want you to say bullshit. You can say it on here. Like,
Yeah.
Don't
It's
say the P
okay.
word.
yeah, just so
Yeah, no P
the
words.
P word's
Just
the only
yeah.
one. Because my wife just doesn't like that word. So Scott, the Philly Cowboy, Mike, I think that's a definite proven hypothesis. Pitchers today suck compared to 90s guys. Hell, all players today suck compared to 90s guys. Not only that, but the music. We're not listening to like now music where it's fucking mumble rap. We're
Yeah.
listening to fucking grunge at the DPF garage. Like,
Yeah, and
It's all
90s
proven
country at Mike's house.
Steve Mold, the final comment. You guys have the Ray Diddy yellow notepad. So that's Ray Didinger
Oh,
from the Eagles. We do,
Yeah, right
like, and
there.
everyone here does. So, like, I really appreciate everyone's diligence on the podcast. We look forward to like just kind of talking all week. We're kind of talking on texts and whatnot. So I want to go around and I want to give everyone a chance to give their fuck those, because like, you know what? It's not fair that like just one person does it. You can say anyone you want. It doesn't matter. So John, who do you have?
Ooh. Come back to me. I gotta think for a minute.
Dugan?
I'm just gonna say fuck the off season. I need some baseball.
Attaboy?
Yeah, that's, I agree
so
with that.
I'm feeling you, my friend. I'm gonna say because of the lack of movement this off season, I'm saying fuck Double D right now.
That's a strong move, and I don't disagree, because if the Phillies are like, below 500 in May, we're gonna be like, well, fucking, what did you expect?
You didn't-
Running the same
it's the
shit out there.
Same lineup.
Yeah.
John, this is going to be your spot, man. We're
Yeah.
like coming down to the wire. Who do you got?
I got you.
All right.
Fuck the Dodgers, and I'm gonna defer 12 more. Fuck the Dodgers for the next 11 episodes or 12 episodes.
Good for
Good
you.
call. Good call.
That's a good one.
You might have
Appreciate-
to say them in Japanese though, John.
Yeah.
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 Just don't get the wrong symbol and have like soup tattooed on you or something.
Oh my god. So we had a lot of fun tonight. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Wanted to say, again, like, we appreciate you spending your time with us, spending your time on Facebook, X, Twitter and X, and
Instagram.
TikTok and Instagram. Fuck Joe Carter, fuck Gary Carter, fuck Nell Carter, fuck Scott Rome, but most of all, and as always, fuck the Mets. Have a good night, everyone.